just dominating the meta. I actually have a conversion rate from the tournament, and we can see that we had from 64 decks in day 2, 51 were either Master or Kai'Sa, with few sets and few misfortunes sneaking out towards the top seeds, but still the dominance from this 2 deck is just completely absurd.
Yeah, it's terrifying to face off against. I think it makes a lot of sense, particularly for Riftlab coming in, as a acknowledged high-ranked League of Legends player known for his Vel'Koz play, to pick up the deck that we know is going to be extremely good. I do like having the Dr. Mundo in here as well, but we want to actually put most of the attention onto the opponent here in this matchup, Felowi, who's playing the SETT. And I know, also, you were saying that this was, running at least a couple of cards in here that were ones that weren't necessarily in every SETT deck.
I mean, it's a very unique list, especially that most sets from the top seeds had Fiora and side deck, and the fact that Felowi is not even playing a side deck. I mean, the rune split and the battlefields are pretty common for SETT decks, but the thing that stands out the most is that you don't really have much yellow cards here. Like, it's solely a mono orange set. You're missing Hidden Blades, you're missing Leonas, you're missing a lot of techs that actually can help you, that makes your deck a bit more flexible. And I think this version of set that Felowi is presenting to us is more of an aggro set, focused on ready units and on spamming units to the battlefields to the point where you cannot really maintain the tempo. I think it might be a great answer to Master Ease. But why would you go this way if even greater answer is just playing Leona? Solely because if you construct a Leona set with a bit more of a yellow in it, you have much better ways of outplaying Master, since usually when you play Master, he's going to defend with only one unit of battlefield, since it's what he's the best at, and stunning the units with Leona actually can give you lots of advantage. But against Kai'Sa, I think this kind of set might be even better, since you will spam lots of units, since you can ready lots of units, so you might be able to maintain the pressure that Kai'Sa is known for. And also, I think that starting with Fiora in deck and not in the sideboard might actually be helpful, since you now have not only 3 Kianas with Deflect, but also 2 Fioras as long as you are able to buff them. And if there's one thing that Kai'Sa hates, it's Deflect.
Yes, I think if for Riftlab being thrown off of his game and having to play a little bit outside of the rhythm that he would be hoping for would be the thing to watch out for. I do want to bring attention to one of the cards from our SETT player here, the Wallop, the one you were calling out before we even came on air as being a card you would not expect to see. This is one where if you can spend a buff to play it for free, it's a spell that readies one of your units. So you're talking about the tempo play from our SETT player. It feels like that's a great way to really push that early advantage.
Yeah, and I think you really need to do this, because Kai'Sa will try to wipe out all your board, and since for now Kai'Sa is one of the best decks when it comes to dealing damage and drawing, and Kai'Sa also have a lot of possibilities of dealing damage not only to the units at the battlefield, but also to the units that are prepared at the base. You really would need the tempo, because if Kai'Sa is able to wipe out not even the battlefields but your base, you're just one turn behind, because you have to wait for your units to be ready. And many decks don't really have response for that, even in Master, which is probably the biggest rival of Kai'Sa right now. You mostly have only your Champion Master as a one unit that can come in ready, and also you just play first mates. Also, I think it's quite interesting from Felowi to go around this way, because usually when it comes to the orange and reading units, your first thought is first mate, because you ready unit, but you're playing another one as well.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about our battlefields for this first one coming in, because we've got the Void Gate on the Kai'Sa side of things, of course, the extra damage for the spells. The Obelisk of Power coming in from our SETT player Felowi. So we can see we've got a lot of bodies out on the board already. If we're looking to stamp on the accelerator, the Pit Rookie coming in alongside the Glory Seeker. So we've already got a good amount of power out and ready to fight.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic start from the set player because first turn you actually are able to put 2 units, and it might put Kai'Sa to us into a bit of a tougher spot, especially that we do see that there's not much aggressive spells in Robala's hands. We can see only the Void Seeker being the only option there, but Robalas, since he started, he's just going to go with the quick conquer for the first point of the game.
Yeah, Ravenbloom sneaking in there. Again, loving the upgrades to the UI coming in so we can see the full hands coming in. I do want to kind of talk about a few of Feroji's cards just because I haven't seen anywhere near as much as deck. We've got the Wallop in play. Again, remember, this one can be played for free if you pay for its cost with a buff off of one of the units, but also Divine Judgment that will wipe out most of the field long term as well. Each player chooses 2 units, 2 gear, 2 runes, and 2 cards, and everything else gets recycled. So that's a big late game promise there for Feroji if things do go awry.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really great way of ensuring that if you hit a matchup like Victor, which is able to spam you completely, especially if Victor plays a Trifarian on you, then you can just wipe out everything. And since your units are much tougher, since you have a bit of bigger units, also they're mostly buffed, then you can just ensure that the late game is yours.
Alright, so we've got our buffs following here from Feroji's side of things. Looks like we'll be spending aggressively, so first chance to get out here and challenge up on the Void Gate, of course, which will be the stomping ground. Robolas, there's the Fiora you're calling for from before. That deflect, she said, great for being able to pull things out. It looks like for the time being, though, Feroji is going to go take his obelisk of power and get that first point in.
Yeah, I don't think Robolas would be answering to this one, especially that since we can see the hand, we actually know that there isn't a single spell in his hand that actually can help in this spot, but considering what's now on both boards, I think that Feroji's plan should be to try and conquer the Void Gate with Fiora, because putting a buffed Fiora there will actually cause a lot of trouble, because okay, those spells will help you, but to cast every one of them onto the Fiora, you have to recycle a single rune, despite, I mean, not even considering the cost of the card itself, so it should cause a lot of problems, and I do think that Robolas should be trying to get rid of this Fiora as fast as he can.
Alright, looks like we're going to be seeing our first actual encounter of the game as, yeah, Robolas, I mean, he's got a good amount of cards in hand. We'll be going for the Stupefy as well to win out the matchup and clear out. There we go, the -1 and keeping himself nice and card neutral. So for the time being, Robolas has managed to seize early control, but you know, must have, of course, with our privileged position, you know, knowing what all the cards are and things.
Oh, that's a very nice draw. That's a very nice draw from Robolas, because you have already Darius in hand, but now you're getting the Cleave. And why is the Cleave so important? Because if you're not able to target Fiora without overcommitting your runes, actually having a Cleave with Darius with this effect of getting +2 would be fantastic, because Fiora might not be able to match this kind of strength coming from Darius.
No, and if, as you say, the entire strategy is revolving around Fiora and Kiana, it looks like we're building up here for Feroji for a big swing attack, but you're right, the Darius is ready on the other side to make a mess of things. Remember, we've still got
and we can now see the
coming
Wallop.
in. Yeah, that's the Wallop, so everything is ready to rock and roll right away.
Yeah, so this Kiana will come ready, but still Kai'Sa has lots of mana. Also, we have to consider the fact that on the Void game there's Ravenbloom, and as Feroji's cards would get weaker, the Ravenbloom would get only stronger.
We've got, yeah, we're going to be interesting. So the Glory Seeker going in as well as the Kiana to try and make the push in and get that early conquer. As you said, the mana is open. We will be seeing, of course, which we'll be seeing more than a few times, the Void Seeker coming in, dealing very well with those 4 power units.
Okay, and we actually have to recycle one rune since... okay, we didn't have to recycle one for the cost of the cards since we just tapped our Kaisa, and I think Robolas actually tapped the wrong one, but it doesn't matter. But since Kiana has Deflect, you still have to pay this one rune.
Okay, so that should leave us in a position with both of them are taking out each other. You can see from the hand there's nothing surprising coming in from Felowi's side. We have still got the Fiora up and running, and now at least we do know that the field is open for the taking, so imagine we'll be seeing Fiora moving in there. But you're right, it does feel like we've got a problem. Robolas is ahead on points, and that Void Gate seems almost unassailable.
Yeah, especially that's from the last Void game. Oh, from the Void Seeker. Okay, did he put the Void Seeker in the trash pile? Because I see it being in hand. I'm not sure if he just drew into another one, or he just... okay, I think... Okay, he should have put it in the trash since there's also a card from the battlefield. So he just drew into another one, and now a Falling Star from the top deck. It's not a great information from Felowi because he has a very poor hand right now. Only 2 cards and not a single one that can actually buff this Fiora. And since the Fiora is not mighty yet, because there wasn't a single card to buff her, she doesn't have deflect, and also she doesn't have defense. So if Robolas would have wanted to play this really aggressively, he could even go for accelerated Kaisa with Cleave.
Yeah, I mean, this feels as... Yeah, if we're going to use the other Seeker to wipe the field, and Felowi seems to have run out of gas entirely. I mean, we've still got the Divine Judgment in place, which would theoretically somewhat reset the game, but I'm not liking this very much at all.
And I don't think Felowi has a response for that, with his only options being SETT and Divine Judgment in hand. So this... Oh yeah, this Fiora will be coming down, and now... Honestly, I do think I would have wanted to play Accelerated Kaisa here, because since Felowi does not have much on his board and on his hands, you could probably just win this game on the spot. Okay.
Alright, gonna go swinging
Darius,
with the Darius.
Yeah. It will be Darius and not Kaisa coming in, but it's still a really, really bad spot for Felowi since it's 5-2. He does not have any more Wallops or First Mates in his hand right now. And
also, it feels like the SETT deck is very combo based, and we've only really got the we've got one more set in hand. We've got the SETT coming out from as well, but it feels like already the combo, such as it is really struggling to materialize.
Consistency is the problem. That's why Kaisa is dominating so much, because she has damage, she has draw, and she has fantastic units to control the game and control the pace of the game. And that's why this deck is so good. It's now 7-2, and I don't think Felowi could actually manage to do anything here, especially with the Falling Star coming in. Okay, this should be it. I mean, Felowi, even if he would have been to save his set, it won't really do much, since it would be just a small set coming in. There's one play. There's actually one play that Felowi might still try, and it's trying to go with Divine Judgment. No, but he would have... I'm not sure, because the problem is that Robolas still has lots of great units in hand, and especially lots of units that can be accelerated. There's Kaisa still in the champion zone. There's Nine's Tail Watcher in the hands. Of course, Felowi cannot know that, but I do think the only out that Felowi actually might have here is to try and play it around the Divine Judgments. But the problem is that the SETT already burned his buff, so he cannot spend it to get +4 for the Conquer, and I don't think he will be beating Darius. Okay, there's Divine Judgment, but I don't really think that it would change much in this particular game. I do think that it's still a very clean win for the Robolas.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was just honestly scary. We're in the position we are with Robolas where, we're winning out pretty conclusively here. And Robolas still has resources in hand, has got 4 units out in the field. even if a couple of them are more, low-grade units. Whereas, Feroji just completely being run out. It's a shame that at least we don't have a listed side deck in here for Feroji. But, I mean, certainly the Divine Judgments felt like they came way too late in the game to really make any kind of difference.
And I think the biggest problem for Kai'Sa might be the fact that he only will keep 2 runes, but I still think that Feroji being so back behind is just too much for the Divine Judgment to repair in this match. Especially that he doesn't really have anything more, and it's 6-4 on this battlefield, and Robolas will be just winning the game on the spot since SETT cannot clear both of the units.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
The Falling Star was a game-winning card here.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Robolas had a good game, and maybe having the Divine Judgment in hand for 4G was something of a low roll, since it seems to be, that's the kind of the end game card. Most of 4G's deck is 4 and below. It's mostly set up very much as a rush down kind of deck, but it ran out of resources so quickly, and I don't think it's really got a tremendous amount of way of recovering if something does go wrong.
Feroji is still thinking about his options here, but I don't really see any. And it's just a matter of time that Robolas will be getting this point number 8. And why the Void Seeker, the Falling Star, was so crucial here? Because it forced Feroji to spend the buff on SETT. And since SETT's ability is based fully, SETT the unit, of course, not the champion, is fully based around his buff, he couldn't really do much here. And okay, it will be a conquer from Feroji getting his 3rd point, but despite getting the point number 3, it wouldn't really do anything more, and Robolas will just get point number 8 on the spot, winning the first game of the set.
Alright, so Mossov, talk to me here. Again, we don't have a sideboard for Feroji. We'll have to see if we can find out if that actually is the case, or if that was just a misfiling on what was listed on the deck list. If there isn't one there, if we assume that Feroji's deck remains exactly the same from the previous game, can you kind of theory craft for us here what could have been done differently to have the game play out differently?
Honestly, I don't think that Feroji could have done much, since the biggest problem was that in his starting hand he had SETT, and I mean SETT was fine, but he had this Divine Judgment which was particularly useless throughout the whole game. And the problem was that since Feroji's deck is very combo based, and he couldn't really get a grasp of the combo of playing a few units and raiding them on the spot. He couldn't really do much about the fact that Robolas was getting a very, very early lead with the double conquer coming along the way, and the biggest problem was that SETT was too passive in the first few rounds, and since Kai'Sa also got the runes from the obelisk, Robolas having multiple options with his Falling Star, with the Void Seekers, with Stupefy. He was just having too much pressure on coming on Feroji for him to be able to respond. I mean, seeing this list, I think the biggest problem was as well that he couldn't really find any of his arena bars, or he couldn't find any way to buff the Fiora, because if Fiora was buffed there, first of all, it would have been much harder to kill her because she's out of range of Void Seeker, and also we have to play Deflect. But also, when Fiora is buffed, you have the option to save her with SETT's ability, and the fact that there weren't really a lot of buffs coming in from Feroji's side really couldn't give the SETT chance to shine here with the thing that he's best at. So it's saving the best units, buffing it again, and completing the cycle. And Feroji just couldn't connect the combo, and when you cannot connect your combos on Kai'Sa from the first turn, you usually lose to Kai'Sa, because the deck is very aggro style and pressure style mates.
Well, we talked a little bit about the battlefields in place from before. that yes, perhaps it may end up being that Obelisk of Power worked against Felowi. But as I believe, yes, we have got game number 2 getting underway. Hopefully Felowi's going to get to show us something a little bit different this time around. The other options we've got for the battlefields from Felowi's side of things, the Monastery of Harana, which allows you to turn your buffs into draws, and the Windswept Hillock, which is the enabler of ganking, which I honestly would be fascinated to see how that will work with Felowi, maybe getting more of a control over the game, which you were calling for from before.
Honestly, I do think it's his best battlefields, seeing from the 3 that he presented, because considering the combo of many cards that can ready your unit, you can conquer 2 battlefields with 1 unit. So the combo is that you play a unit, or just take a ready unit, you conquer 1 battlefield, of course the Windswept, then you ready your unit and gank the other one, and that's how Felowi takes control of the game.
So we've ended up, yes, we've got the Windswept Hillock in place, as well as Zorn Warren. So conquer here, discard 1, draw 1. So it feels like we've got some interesting possibility for Felowi if they can pull off that kind of combo you're mentioning and take control, get these battlefields, get that hand. I mean, they would have loved in the previous game to have that Zorn Warriors just to get rid of the useless cards and make sure the hand is as focused as it could be.
Okay, so now Robolas, ready for his second turn. The fact that he missed any units on the first turn might be a bit tough there, but we do have 1 card to fix this, and it's the Sprite Mother. So if he wants to take an early late, he will just... okay, he should be going for this one, playing the Sprite Mother, which is another way of Kaisa having a lot of pressure on your opponent, because you play the unit, but the unit, even though it's not ready, gives you a ready token that is pretty powerful on itself and gives you a way of conquering. Of course, it's disappearing before the scoring on the next round, so it won't get you points from hold. But since also we have an option to play units to the controlled battlefields, you can use it to control a battlefield, and they play something else to work for you as a defender.
Yeah, and if we're talking about Felowi needing to take control from early on, that doesn't seem like good news. I mean, Elise Cathera can get buffed. Of course, if we do see another unit coming out from hand, we know we've got another Cathera in hand and another Pit Rookie as well. So Felowi does at least have some decent stuff early on, but I can't help but notice the Divine Judgment is back in hand for Felowi again, very, very early on.
But the hand is slightly better than the first game, so this Divine Judgment might actually be a bit tougher for Robolas. Looking at the hand, 5 runes from Felowi's side, so I think the way I would have played it, I think I would have went for the exact play for Cynthia, and therefore maybe for a Pit Rookie, so you can have 2 buffed Cynthias waiting, and then later you can play Fiora with Arena Bar, so you can buff Fiora on the spot.
Oh, I like that as well. So that's the Windswept Hillock conquered. Okay. Yeah, and we've got the Arena Bar coming out from before. You mentioned the Arena Bar as being...
yeah, not Pit Rookie, because... my bad, because if you played Pit Rookie, you actually would have wasted 1 buff since Cynthia is buffing herself, but I really liked not playing Fiora on this turn, because you're risking too much that Kais has Falling Star or anything else that might actually get the Fiora out before she can fully shine. Now we also see the Sprite coming out. And the biggest problem from Robolas is that he doesn't really have much units in his hand. It's lots of spells. He also has Ravenbloom, and I think the Ravenbloom might be the best option right now.
We'll see where the mother goes originally, so offering to trade here, but of course the stun means that's going to be a favourable one. See what Felowi does. It's kind of impressive, it's going to end up losing out that trade and losing control of the ganking potential of the Windswept Hillock as well, so far, we're seeing a more interactive game, I suppose, but ultimately, Robolas is still the one maintaining control.
But I do think that Robolas might actually need to go a bit faster in this game, because he now knows that Felowi is playing Divine Judgment. He's not aware that he has it in hand, but with the units presented on the board right now, I do think that actually it might be a bit tough for Robolas to come back from Divine Judgment coming in like a turn or two.
That's the Fiora coming out. Remember, we've got Arena Bar in play, so can tap to buff an exhausted friendly unit, and that's what's going to happen straight away. So we at least get to draw the line of separation, as we will see the advance on to the Zorn Warrens, which will at least allow for...
I do now see a way of Robolas completely not caring about the Divine Judgment coming in a few turns.
Oh, tell me.
And that's all because of the Windswept. Because Robolas has Darius in his hands. And when we take out all of the runes, all of the units, everything, leaving only 2/2/2 from each side, Darius being there might actually be the game changer because of the Windswept. Because Darius might be able to come in, you play another card, and then you gank another battlefield. It might be a great ender for Robolas.
Oh, you're right. And that would be ironic indeed, because certainly during the first game, it was the battlefield, the obelisk of power from Felowi that ultimately ended up, I think, making the life very difficult. If that happens again for a second game, that's going to smart all the more. Let's see, we've got the Ravenloom student moving in, looking to try and basically repeat the previous turn. We've got another Stupefy coming in. Ravenloom, of course, will be very, very hard to deal with. Felowi looks to be missing out again, because again, doesn't have cards in hand to respond to this kind of play at all, even if the runes were ready.
So it should be a 4th point for Robolas, but Felowi actually is going to save Cynthia here. I mean, it's not really costing much, so I don't really see why you wouldn't do this, since it's your rival's turn. Robolas should be on 4 points, I think. Okay, and it should go up in the moment. I'm thinking about, because Felowi has Nuke in his hand, and it's Divine Judgments, and I won't think it will come in the next turn. I do think that he might actually try to go with SETT or Kiana or both to try and trade one, and keep Fiora and one of the two, probably being Kiana since she has Deflect. Or maybe no, or maybe even keeping SETT, because you now have Arena Bar, which Kai'Sa cannot really do much about. And since you can constantly provide SETT with buffs, you also might be in a much better spot when it comes to defending and conquering.
Well, theorycraft with me here. What's kind of the ideal situation? So Divine Judgment, again, just a quick reminder, each player keeps 2 units, 2 gear, 2 runes, and 2 cards. What's the perfect situation to be able to play that into?
Honestly, I think that's the best way of doing this might be to try and trade something maybe on the Zone Warrants. I don't think it will come now. I don't think the Divine Judgment is coming right now on the spots. But it might be your only option like in turn or two, because the Windswept Hillocks is actually looking quite of dangerous with 12 might being there. But yeah, we're now going to see the trades to get a point from Zone Warrants. Okay, it might actually be Divine Judgments this turn.
Okay.
Since you do have pretty cheap cards in your hands. Since keeping 2 runes will allow you to play Kiana or Kinko Monk next turn. But the question is, do you maybe want to play SETT earlier? Oh, that's a great draw now coming in from Felowi, discarding of course Kinko Monk from the Zone Warrants effect. Now we can play the SETT. We could try to ready him.
They're using that wall up in hand.
Yeah, and go for the Conquer, and then save him with our SETT. It seems like actually it's quite great coming from Felowi. Also, great sequencing coming from his height. So now he spent a buff on a set that he got from playing him on his at the base. Then he used Arena Bar to play another buff, so getting him to 9. And then I do think... Oh...
Wow.
I do think that it will be already up, and SETT will be going up to 12, spending yet another buff. Okay, this SETT actually looks quite strong. But the
you can see
Robolas
mousing over on the...
I mean, the problem is that you don't have a buff on your SETT right now, but you will be still completely wiping out the board. Okay, I think it's quite a nice line that Felowi found it here. I don't know if I would have been brave enough to go like this, but if you come with a deck like Felowi's one, with such an aggressive version of sets, without all of the stuns, without the hidden blades, I do think you sometimes have to make the plays like this, especially that's... okay, Felowi... Okay, I think he's now saving his Fiora. And the problem... Okay, this was quite weird coming from Robolas. I do think it was a bit of a misplay because Robolas had 12 might, if I'm not mistaken, on his board. And I do think he should have went for the SETT because SETT was not buffed. Because going for Fiora does basically nothing, since Felowi just spends 1 rune, has SETT, and Fiora is coming back to the base. And since you do have Arena and there's not really much coming from Robolas' side, you will just go to the battlefield and buff her again. And now this SETT will be a bit of a problem because of the earlier said Arena boss still being on the play. I do think that might be the misplay that actually will be too much from Robolas to come back from.
It was certainly a very different world we're in at the moment. It looks like, okay, so we're going to be seeing the Zorn Warriors being cleared, but yeah, we're not seeing the big value we'd be expecting to get, and we certainly got in the previous game from our Void Seeker. So we've still got Set in play, we've still got Fury in play, we've still got the Righteous Judgment waiting to go off as well. So the Divine Judgment.
I think that it is misunderstood how Darius works. By Robalos, definitely, by not sure if Felowi is... Okay, I think that both players kind of misunderstood how Darius worked. I mean, Robalos still could have played it, but if Felowi asked the judge, it probably would have been called in his favor, since Robalos, first played the Void Seeker and then Darius. And Darius... Okay, I'm stupid with these interactions. I'm also mistaking some interactions.
I think I've had this discussion before, and it's very counterintuitive, but I think he does. Yeah,
it is counterintuitive. Yeah, okay, I think everything is fine. I think everything's fine. It is a bit counterintuitive, especially that the wording in Riftbound is a bit different in the.
If this was Magic the Gathering, it wouldn't work that way.
Yeah. Okay. Second con, my bad, my mistake. Don't.
No, I think everybody makes that mistake because it doesn't really make sense.
I mean, Riftbound leaves you a lot of space for discussions, so you have to be very experienced, especially if you're wanting to be the judge. I can even give you one story that we had about SETT's deck, but it was this one battlefield. Let me remind myself how it's called. The Monastery of Hirana, which is when you conquer hero may spend a buff to draw 1. And we're actually... having a debate because none of us was sure. Okay, even our production confirmed that Darius counts as a second card. But we're actually interested if when you conquer with SETT, can you first spend the buff that you had on to draw from Hirana and then get a buff from conquering? What's the chronology here? But it turns out that you cannot do this. That you first get the buff from conquering and then you can spend it from...
well, if we get to a third game, we will be seeing the Monastery Hirana coming in, so I guess we'll see how they'll interpret it. But to bring us back to the game itself, because I do agree, at this point we can sort of get into theory crafting. It looks like Felowi clearing out Darius from before is now massively far ahead of the curve. We do have a Dr. Mundo in hand for Robolas, but it feels like the combo has successfully gone off this time for Felowi.
I mean... Robolas should have been still in the game if he went for the SETT and not for Fiora. And that's why I said I think it was a crucial mistake that actually got the Felowi the advantage that should bring him to the victory, uh, because you would have actually killed SETT, and Fiora was still saved by SETT. Both units, both crucial units from Felowi's side are buffed, and now you will try to conquer, but you know how this will play out. Felowi will just use his SETT, since he still has runes up, and despite Kai'Sa probably winning with Fiora, you still will manage to take the Zoran warrants again, because okay, actually Robalas sees that he cannot go for the Zone warrants, because if he went for the Fiora, then Felowi would just save the Fiora and gank from Windswept and come with Fiora and just put everything on Kai'Sa. So now actually it might be a bit tougher, since you will be saving your SETT, but you have to spend a buff, so your SETT won't be buffed. It really depends on the top deck, because if Felowi is able to get a pit rookie here from the top deck, it should be a victory on the spots. Or maybe anything to ready your card again, because then you can take Fiora as well. If you get anything like First Mate, you can just take Fiora back from Zone Warrants and go with both with both SETT and Fiora to conquer. But it is yet another Fiora, so seems like Robalas should still be fine. And now actually my question is, as Felowi, don't you just put everything on Zone Warrants?
I mean, that would certainly seem to be a way to finish the job. I mean, we've got a chance to...
Okay, does Fiora get ganking, actually, because I forgot about this. Oh, Fiora does get ganking. I always forget about this one, because I always remember that she has Deflect, that she has shields, but she also gets ganking from being buffed.
Gosh, yeah, no, I forgot that one as well. She's got so many things she gets from being buffed. I think this surely should be it. We've got, let's see, so we've got one rune left up, which isn't going to be enough for anything. The Kai'Sa should die.
I mean, the one rune should be
Stupefy.
Still enough for the Stupefy, but it doesn't matter, since Felowi should be able... Yeah, since even if both units kill one another, Felowi still has a ready SETT to go and conquer. And actually Robalas cannot draw into anything else, since he has no runes left. So it will be 1-1.
Muscle, this is particularly impressive, being that we've got to remember, like, this is the second game, and Felowi didn't come into this one with any kind of sideboard whatsoever. So theoretically, this should have been, an even harder going than the first time out, but instead, we're going to a third game between these two. I'm really glad to see in our first of our 4 series here tonight that we've got ourselves a full competitive one to run through.
And as you can see, even though you're completely dominating the game, one misplay can sometimes be enough to completely lose the grasp of the victory. And Felowi made sure that he used this mistake to the maximum of his favor to put this series on the tie again. Now Robalas has to think, how can I make sure that this does not happen again?
Well, talk to me about the particular... We didn't actually talk about the specific sideboard options here. Is there anything leaping out to you? We're assuming it's probably already in the deck at this point, but what would you imagine Robalas would have been bringing in and taking out for the second game, and presumably the third game as well?
I don't know if I'm not liking another smoke screen coming from Robalas. Because we're talking about the cleave and getting more options that not includes damaging the units and putting them on much lower might might be a great option here. But honestly, I don't have this much experience with Kai'Sa, so I'm not really sure how Robalas will play this one out.
Alright, well, let's find out. Robalas definitely coming into this one with a lot of expectations. As mentioned before, high-level competitive player. in League of Legends, known for his Vel'Koz play. The Felowi putting up a lot more fight with a deck that has no side deck to work with than we would have expected otherwise. So we've got our last battlefields, our final battlefields, as you might say, coming in. You mentioned before the Monastery of Harana should be our option in here for Felowi, where you can spend a buff to draw one. Presumably, this is still an extremely powerful battlefield for Felowi to work with.
Yeah, of course, but it's always the discussion of saving the buff for saving the unit and using the buff to get one more card and to play with. Especially against Kai'Sa, the draw might be really nice, since Kai'Sa is usually the one that puts you in the shame with 6, 7, 8 cards in her hands. But also, the battlefield for Robalas in the third game might be, considering the Felowi's list, might be a huge advantage here, since Targon's Peak give you 2 ready runes at the end of their turn after the Conquer. Felowi, who does not really play any spells or anything like that, or any reactions, might not really use this as much. Of course, it still would be nice, because then you can use your runes a bit more freely and still get that one rune that is always saved for rescuing a unit. But still, I think Robalas is getting much more value from this one.
Alright, looks like both our players with a decent start. We've got, of course, early value from the Watchful Sentry for Robalas' side of things, and of course, wanting to try and control Targon's Peak as much as is humanly possible and make sure. I suppose it's worth noting that it's only an on-conquer effect for Targon's Peak. This won't continue to happen every single round from here on out.
Okay, and now Robalas playing Stupefy on his own unit to draw a card and drop into something better. Since, we do have a Falling Star, and it's a really great one.
Yeah, we're going to have so many units which are going to be at 3 power from Felowi's side of things, so yeah, I really like this start. Again, it's 1 game apiece. This one is for the series. And of course, we're going to be having as well the Noxus Hopeful coming in to really lock down the Targon's Peak there from the very beginning.
And that's another reason why Robalas played Stupefy here, because not only you drew into another card, since you already have lots of ways of weakening your opponent's units, but also the Legion effect of Noxus Hopeful. Legion being the effect if you played another card this turn, that you do not need to pay 4 for him, you can just pay 2. And I do think actually Robalas forgot to ready the 2 runes after the Targon, but it shouldn't really matter, since the only unit that Felowi was controlling was Cynthia, which just conquered the other side.
Oh, interesting. So let's see what we've going on here. Confront. Well, sorry, to catch us up, the Catalyst of Eons was played, so that was channeling 2 runes to give a
We
little
do
bit
have
more.
Divine Judgment, yet again.
Yes. So that can be coming out a lot earlier than it should be because of these extra runes.
But the problem is that I'm kind of seeing a repetition of Game 1 when Robalas went absolutely berserk with units, with points, with spells, with everything. And with the only units that Felowi might actually play being Kiana and SETT from Champion Zone, I think it just might be not enough in this game, especially with Falling Star, Smokescreen and Stupefy still being in options, and also 2 Tail Watchers waiting for the turn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't feel like it's going to go well. We have got Confront, which I don't think got played last time, but it will be played this time. So units come in ready, and it's a draw card as well. So we've got the chance for Felowi to seize back the initiative here, or at least make the attempt to. As much as we know, this is going to be a pretty big uphill battle. It's just the 1 rune left up and ready. I mean, the Stupefy is definitely being, postured here, but we can see that there isn't actually one ready to play.
And just to be safe, Felowi will also play his Pit Rookie to spend yet another buff, since after conquering he should get another one, so SETT should be still safe. And I don't think that Robalas will do anything about it, but Oh, Robolas is now one rune short from playing Accelerated Tail Watcher, but I don't really think that he needs to really worry about this one. Uh, because now Felowi might be having trouble saving that set. If anything's more coming from Robolas, because of course Falling Star will not be enough since Felowi still has option to spend the buff. But I do think that even taking out this buff might be crucial for Robolas here in terms of the tempo of the game.
All right, so we yeah, as you said, we kind of ended up with a combination of the first couple of games. In this case, Robolas getting the field cleared up top, but still having an enormous amount of cards left in hand. For Felowi, we've got another confront ready to rock as well to go for another very aggressive turn, but I'm with you from what you said before. It still feels like it's such a fragile position for Felowi to work from that, you know, any disruption to the combo is going to really smart.
I mean, there's still Arena Bar in hand. Probably coming in clutch in terms of giving the buffs to the left and to the right, but I'm thinking if Robolas actually wants to commit here with Falling Star. For now, he's just lecturing Yordle to draw yet another card. Seeing all the options before committing. Okay, once more you could go for lecturing Yordle. But then I'm scared that next turn Felowi could just... Since he will have 11, okay, he will be short from playing both Qiyana Confront and Divine Judgments.
Okay, Patti Poro coming out as well. So, yeah, I like having the tank down there as well to make... Again, we've got to remember that this is the Monastery of Harana down the bottom is a very important location for Felowi to get control of if he wants to refresh the hand. But there's the second confront coming out, so replaces itself, but more importantly means that the cards will come out readied. So we've got the chance to make the big play. Mistfall. Another way to be able to ready up your units. Felowi's trying to go all in. We've got the Qiyana coming in as readied as well. It's a big turn, and there's not very much left in the tag. Robolas only one rune left. No, sorry, my apologies. A couple of runes left unchanneled so far. Does have the Superfy, does have the smoke screen as well to potentially mess with any combats going.
But the problem is that you'll have to commit much of your runes with Qiyana being still there. Oh, and it will be quite an interesting play because you still have one rune to save SETT, so he will be coming back. He actually will be exhausting Mistfall, or okay, I have to read Mist. It's the first time I'm seeing the cards, to be honest.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I might see the play here, and it's actually really sneaky. But I think Felowi is... Oh, Felowi was one rune short. I see what might have been the line here. But Felowi was just one rune short from being able to save the set. Because if he had one more rune, he would have went Arena Bar, spent the buff on SETT, and then use Arena Bar with Mistfall to ready the buffed SETT, and then conquer on Kai'Sa.
Yes, by the smallest of margins, and it does look like Robolas is looking to seize back control of this game. So the voice comes out, the Qiyana is removed from the field, SETT is still live, and control of Targon's Peak for the time being remains with Felowi. But when you look at the amount of incredible stuff in hand for Robolas, we're going to be seeing, trying to peck away and get rid of the buff for the SETT. I mean, if Robolas is trading, back and forwards here, in terms of,
and
value...
Superfy coming in.
It's going to be able to conquer the field. Of course, we've got to remember that we've still got unaccounted for. The Divine Judgment is still there in hand and has been for some time. So Stupefy comes down exactly as you said. That's another point in hand. Robolas in control for now.
And honestly, I think Felowi miscalculated a bit, because since you were not fully committing to the line that I was talking about, pulling out the set from the battlefields actually was I mean, I'm not sure if it was a losing play, because you still wouldn't save both Kiana and SETT, since you could have used your SETT once. But the biggest problem was that you played Confront, you played Kiana, you did all of this to basically do nothing. You still spend the buff on your SETT, and okay, you can conquer, you can go for much more, but the problem is that even with Divine Judgment, once again, Robolas might be too far ahead, because probably we will see Robolas keeping everything on his left battlefields, on Montara, on Hinara, of course. And now Felowi will have two choices: to either conquer Targon, which basically does nothing, or trying to conquer the Hinara, which he cannot do since it's 4-6. And also, Robolas, even with 2 runes left, he can still play the smoke screen. So
yeah, I mean, it feels like a desperation play. I really like what we've been seeing from Felowi. I mean, as much as we kind of knew what we were getting for a blast with this very, very standard Kaiser deck, it feels like Felowi was maybe just a couple of inches away from being able to turn this one back around. But, I mean, this has got to be the last and final play. So one of these units is going to be ditched. I have to imagine it's going to be the Party Power. Yeah, Felowi's just going to try and make it work.
And you know what's a bit sad in the spot? That if Felowi had one more mana once again, it might have been fine. Okay. Or maybe I think I might see the line here.
Okay.
Okay, it might sound crazy, but listen. Felowi now conquering the Targon. He can spend the buff to play... I have to remind myself how this card's name once more. The Wallop, of course. He can spend the buff to play Wallop and ready the set. Put him back to the base, exhausted. Then you can use Arena Bar to buff the exhausted set, and then you could have readied him. I think that's what Felowi is going for, but he's doing it other way, since he tapped Mistfall right now. I'm thinking if it's correct sequencing. I do think if it's correct sequencing.
Oh yes, we're using
Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because you can still you still use the buff from your conquer. Okay, it didn't matter which sequence was it, since you still can do this. Okay, and now you can play the wall up, and now you can okay, that's a very nice comeback from Felowi.
Wait a second though, we've still got to account for the smoke screen.
But he still has the smoke screen, and the smoke screen will be...
That's a kick. Absolute kick in the teeth
and it
for
would be,
Felowi.
and it would be it, since you don't have your buff left on the set. And now...
That's gotta be it at this point, surely.
Yeah. It is heartbreaking, because it was a fantastic line found by Felowi, but it still was not enough to beat Kai'Sa.
Oh boy. Still though, considering how one-sided the first game was, I'm really glad that we've ended up with a series as good as this, and something that came down to, you know, do you have Smokescreen in hand or Stupefy in hand? And if you don't, I'm just gonna win.
And I do think it should be a... And I do think it's... or maybe not. Felowi can still try this one, because you can play the first mate, since you do have exactly 3 runes here. And now you can use the Mistfall as well to ready it, and it still won't be a victory, but at least you are able to clean the Kai'Sa. Felowi is still fighting. He does not have much, but he's still fighting.
Because otherwise you're going to be losing as of this round. So all credits for Felowi, yeah, playing it pretty much from top of deck, just trying to keep the board alive. I mean, we've got a Darius in hand, and we've got the Cleave. I have to wonder if maybe Robolas might be looking to hold back some of this stuff just because of how powerful that combination would be. Looks like it's not going to be the case. Darius comes out to the field. Robolas is just going to present front and center with a problem that Felowi really just doesn't have a lot of ways of dealing with. Though, the Fiora top deck, I mean, couldn't ask for too much better.
Oh no, but the combination of cards in Robolas' hands should be just a bit too much for Felowi, because now you will conquer with Fiora, since she does have defense, since you have to get points. But the problem is that now Robolas can just play Cleave, go 8-6 to Fiora. Fiora will be saved by the buff, but it doesn't matter, since even if you are able to buff her again, you do have Smokescreen in Robolas' hands. And this Smokescreen probably will be the game killer here.
Yeah, so we've now had it twice in a row, though I think it's not even going to be necessary here. That Smokescreen, just the right cards in hand for Robolas, means that Felowi's going to be shaking their head at this one. I think these are just some of the games you just have to, you have to play as if your opponent doesn't have the answer to what you're doing. And in this case, Robolas did. I think if the first game had gone Felowi's way, we could have had a very different series overall, but oh boy, just the right cards, the right time.
And that's what Kai'Sa does, and it's also the fact that Robolas was using all of the excessive runes to draw. Every time he could have used Stupefy, even for his own units, he went for it, just to get the perfect hand, just to go through the whole deck to get everything that he needed. But we can see that Felowi will still try.
I suppose, well, let's see, if there's a world in which if we didn't have all of these combat tricks in hand, we could get rid of the Darius, or combat tricks in Robolas's hand, we could get rid of the Darius and then start building back here, because, there wouldn't be too much left to deal with, but instead we're just watching Felowi saying, surely for the third time, you're not going to have in hand exactly what you need to be able to mess up my plans.
Boy, oh boy, it might be a big surprise for Felowi coming in.
Alright, so we're both in. We've got Cleave and we've got Smokescreen. That's -4, +3. So a swing of 7 in favor of the Darius, and he's going to be able to buff himself up as well.
But Cleave actually works only if you're attacking. I think.
You're right.
But I'm not sure if you're activating Darius effect if you play both Cleave and Smokescreen, because technically it's your second card in this turn. And I'm not sure about the ruling, since, yet I said, I do not play enough Kai'Sa. I do not play enough
I'm sure
red
he's going to get the
cards.
plus, so he'll get the +2 from
and it
his
will be
effect.
7-6.
And then you've got the Smokescreen as well to be able to, so 7 versus now 6 total.
Yeah, and it should be the game.
If it hadn't been both of them, together, maybe there's some other
perfect
cards.
Combo. The fact that you had both spells that you had to play with perfect sequencing, since Cleave is an action, then play Smokescreen to your own reaction. A fantastic play, but also what a fantastic draw coming from Robolas.
Yeah, honestly, I think a really great way to start off the day today, or start off the evening. Again, we've got 3 more series to come after this one is done, but oh boy, yeah, everything being thrown back in Felowi's face. Hopefully, we get to see Felowi coming back in with an actual side deck for the future, because for this series to be this close with Felowi having no ability to adjust their deck whatsoever, it's just astonishing.
I mean, it's a very interesting way of building the deck, that the whole version of Felowi's set is built around Divine Judgment, and It was actually kind of an inconvenience for Robolas, as we've seen, but all of the right cards, all of the cheap spells coming in from Kai'Sa, I think it was just too much for Woji to get around.
Well, as is being said in the chat, as the Sunlight, who will of course be one of our two casters coming in for the 3rd and 4th series across today, along with Orbital. We're always on the hunt for the most interesting matchups available. In this case, I think this really did deliver, and hopefully this gets to be something that develops a long term. We're just waiting for an update on the game itself.
I do think it's a concession coming from Felowi, since both of our players are not really doing anything.
Okay, well, just obviously we'll stop this discussion as we come out of game, but if we have got a few more moments, we're getting confirmation.
Yeah, Robolas won. We get the confirmation.
If you were okay, I'm going to save this question for another time instead, because I think we did run a little bit longer on that than we might have otherwise. So we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our second of our 4 series here today in the Riftlab Clash number 4. So stay tuned, and we'll be back as soon as we can.